Welcome everyone. I am so excited to introduce our guest speaker of the day, Tristan Barrocks. For over 15 years, Tristan Barrocks has been committed to redefining his digital storyteller skills. Tristan's passion is allowing people to share their unique stories with him. He loves connecting with people and listening to their journey. Tristan's clients have spanned from companies as large as Apple to small as local charities. Tristan is an expert in marketing for small to medium business using unique and authentic storytelling approaches. Welcome, Tristan, and I hope you enjoy our interview. Hi, everyone. This is Delisa, and I'm with Tristan Barrocks. He is an amazing storyteller, videographer, and just amazing person in general. Today he's going to talk about how to master your storytelling and create compelling and meaningful videos. So one thing that Tristan shared with me that I thought was amazing is a little bit about his background. And do you mind if you just talk a little bit about your background of how you got into videography and whatnot?
Yes. Sure. Very quickly. My father, for probably 20 years, has been a photographer, and I was basically commanded to work with him on every wedding and to go to photo shoots and to help him learn how to be a photographer. So I thought to myself, instead of being anything in the media industry, I would be an actor. So I actually went into the acting, film and television industry, fell in love with it, but got to a point where I felt like I was a little bit typecasted, and I felt like I need to kind of reinvent who I was. So I decided to go back to school. I studied media because I was like, well, if I want to reinvent myself, I need to be able to market myself, because I can't pay for anybody to do it. So why not learn media? And I love video, and I love kind of doing some experimenting with video and editing. So I ended up going to school for a few years, came out, and I started to do my own marketing for different theater events that I was putting on in the city of Toronto. People started to see my video work and my design work, and they're like, whoa, like, who's doing this? I said, I am. They're like, we're going to hire you. And I was like, cool. So that was probably about 10 years ago now, because that was 2007 when I graduated, and I started to go on this journey of going behind the camera. So I was standing in front of the camera about half of my life, and then I decided to go behind the camera. I started out with just editing, and then I went into filming, because I felt like I don't really like what the stuff I'm editing. So I said, you know what, why don't I just shoot it, and then I can edit it, and I can just complete the whole process.
Right.
So, yeah.
Awesome. You have an amazing story. It's in your blood to be a creative and tell stories.
Well, it's funny because my oldest brother, is actually set deck in film and television, which is basically like a props locations type of person. So he sets up the location and then they film in there. My middle brother, who's 3 years older than me, he actually does creative writing. So he's a writer, journalist type of person. That's in his blood. I do film and storytelling. My sister does photography. My father does photography. My mom's in the culinary arts, so she does baking and all that other stuff. So we're all kind of crazy creatives.
That's amazing. So it's in your blood, and everyone's like pretty dope careers. Like everyone here.
Yeah, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it.
So I had asked a lot of people in my mastermind group questions about video, and the number one question that came up and that I wanted to ask you in particular is, why should photographers and creatives start thinking about video now?
Well, that's a great question. I think the reason why people need to, specifically photographers and creatives, need to think about video is because video is really, it really has become the dominant platform to deliver your messages. It's moving pictures. The reality is that if a picture can say 1,000 words, then video can say probably 1,000,000 things. And I think you've seen that progression when it comes to social media. Remember, Facebook used to be the place where you go and you tag somebody in a picture that you had a long time ago, maybe a school photo, a family photo, family reunion. Now, when you scroll on Facebook, it's all videos. It's like, click on the audio link so you can actually listen to the video while it's playing, right? There's less and less photos and more video content, and it's more dynamic. Same thing with Instagram. Instagram used to be predominantly dominated by photographers and still creatives. And now there's so much content that's video rich. So I think that it's just the nature of how we're evolving as a society, how we're evolving as marketeers, as storytellers. People want a fuller, more robust experience. I mean, even when you go to a movie theater, how many movies debut just in 2D anymore? Everything's 3D, 3DX, 3DX extra, 3D ultra, AVX, supersonics, sound. So it's like an immersive experience because people want that sort of immersion. They want to kind of get that escape. So I think as a creative, it's really important to be able to have something like video in your arsenal to be able to communicate your messages effectively.
Definitely. I definitely agree. Like, you have to have some sort of video. What are the 3 stories every creative photographer must tell in their video, in their collection of videos?
Yes. I think first and foremost, your why. You have to have a why. You have to have a reason for doing what you're doing, right? You're a photographer. That means that you maybe went to somebody's wedding and you loved seeing the wedding photos after, or maybe you got married yourself and the photos that you got spoke to you, or maybe you grew up seeing somebody taking pictures and just capturing memories, and you really were passionate about that. Your target audience, your clients, and even people that are your fans and your promoters, they want to know what your why is. So that's really important. When you're telling your story, you got to tell your why, right? Because your why is your reason, and that's really what connects you with your audience. I think the second thing is your who. Who are you? Okay, fine, you love to do photography because maybe you connected with a photographer when you were younger, when you were in high school, and you just photography spoke to you, or videography spoke to you. That's great. But now who are you? Who are you as a creative? Right. I say, when people say to me, "Oh, you're Tristan Barrocks, you do videography," I'm like, no, I actually do digital storytelling.
Right.
My name is Tristan Barrocks and I'm a digital storyteller. And that's really important to me because you have to understand your brand and you have to understand the language of your brand. Every person has a language to their brand. And I think understanding who you are as a creative, understanding who you are as a content creator, and as a producer will help you to really refine the language that you start saying and communicating to your target audience. And then lastly, your value. You have to tell, in telling your story, you have to now communicate to your audience what value you're giving to them. How are you enriching their life? Why should they care? I mean, okay, fine. You seem like a cool person and you do photography and maybe your stills are pretty cool, but I'm not getting married and, I don't need you at my next bar mitzvah or anything. So what's the value added for me? Right. And that's where now you really take it to that next level. If you can really understand your audience and what they're looking for, then you can then effectively communicate the value that you're adding to their life. Well, maybe I'm not getting married, but maybe I'm having a baby. Oh, well, I capture those memories. I capture, the before, maybe the middle and the end, you know what I mean? So all of those sort of components, the why, the who, and the value added are, I think, the major 3 things that I really focus on when I'm telling stories.
Definitely. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. I feel like a lot of people struggle with the value. Like, why should I, like, who cares? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
But I love that you talked about like the why. Like, why are you doing this? Because it's kind of like that superhero story origin, like the origin story. Like, why did you even have a platform? Why did you do the things? And I think a lot of people are so used to doing just put it out there, just do. But like, people want to have more of a connection, especially on social media. And in regards to like videos, people want to know your why. Like, why are you like doing this? Like, what is your story? What is your background? What is your origin story, so to speak?
And I think just to add to that, people love the why because it allows you to become human.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you see people maybe with 50,000 followers or 1 million followers or whatever else. But when they kind of pull back the veil and they show you a little bit about themselves and they show you that, listen, everything wasn't pretty, but this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, it allows them to become human again. It brings that human element. And when people can connect on the human level, then you can sell them anything. And it's not even about selling them anything, but it's about making that connection. Because once you make that connection and they feel like they know you, then that opens up a plethora of different opportunities for you.
Definitely. I agree. That why story is so important.
It's so important.
Yes. So I want to ask you, what are the biggest mistakes you see creatives make in their videos?
Number one is they overthink everything.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. And I'm talking to myself. I'm preaching to the choir. I'm saying amen myself, because especially, in my position, because I'm a digital storyteller and my primary method of delivery is video. I tend to overthink it. I need to color correct this. I need to sharpen this. I need to shoot this way. I need to communicate, with this messaging and use this text and this font and this music. At the end of the day, content is king.
Right.
It's not necessarily quality. It's not necessarily the most cutting edge video. It's content.
Right.
And it's consistency. So the more consistent you are with your content, the larger your audience will grow,
right.
and the more loyal your audience will be, because they know you're loyal to them, because they're expecting something and they're getting something, right? So I think don't overthink it. Don't try and feel like you have to dot all your I's and cross all your T's, because if you're waiting for that day to be perfect before you film your first video, it's not going to come.
It's never going to happen.
You're going to always find another reason. Oh, I got to do this. I got to get lighting. Right. No, if you don't have lighting, film outside.
Right.
If you don't have good audio, use an iPhone, or buy a small little hand recorder, and just do a podcast.
Right.
There's so many different ways to be great at video. I think the other big mistake that people make is, I think they're not authentic.
Right.
It's really important to be authentic. It's really important to come across as yourself, because the reality is that people will buy from people they like.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if you're trying to translate your messaging to clients and to other opportunities, you need to come in an authentic way. And the funny thing about authenticity is that the person may not be ready for you today,
right,
but because you've positioned yourself as an authentic authority in your particular field, they'll come back and they'll wait, and I've had so many stories where it's like, people weren't ready for me today, but 6 months down the line, they came back and they're like, nah, there's just something, I want you. I'm like, but you got like so many people around you. Why don't you go to, X, Y, and Z? No, I want you, because you came off so real and so authentic, and you got me, and you got my brand, and you understood what I needed, and the value that you're adding to my life. I'm going to come back to you. So I think those are the two biggest things. Don't overthink it, and just be authentic.
Right. I love that you said that, because when people overthink, they tend not to do. They're like, oh, I should do it. And then like they mention it in July. And then by December, like, what about that video? Oh, I'm just thinking, I'm like, well, when are you going to stop thinking and actually do something, And I think that's so important to know and identify that, and be able to and kind of shed some light on that, because there's a lot of creatives that talk about, they want to do this, they want to have the perfect lighting, they want to do this, and I'm like, just do it. Like you can even use your phone right now to have to film a video, but it's the point of, go ahead.
No.
I was going to say, but it's just the point of just start with what you have right now, and then build up to like the types of videos that you want to create with the lighting and the audio and everything. But you have like a tool that everyone has right now.
And it's about starting today. Right. I think I really, and I want to stress a point that my friend, I love this guy. His name's Andrew James. You got to check him out. Just Google him. Andrew James. He's done multiple different brands and businesses, and he and his family are just amazing. But one of the things that he always says to me, he says, Tristan, because I'm that guy that overthinks, and he says, Tristan, your 10% is somebody else's 1,000. You see what I'm saying? And it's not, he's not disrespecting the other person, but what he's saying is that at the end of the day, just do it. Because even if you do it at 25%, you may not be happy with it, and you may see the flaws, but the 99% of the target audience that you're trying to attract, they just see golden content. Right. Just do it. It's like Nike, just do it.
Right.
Just get it done. Start today.
Right. And then you mentioned something about being authentic. What does that mean to you? Because I hear that word, and even as me, like I'm a photographer, but I'm transitioning and focusing more on like building brands.
Yeah.
And we always talk about being authentic. What does being authentic mean to you?
Being authentic means to me, you, first of all, you knowing yourself and being comfortable in your own skin. Okay. Um, I always say this. I am not, I didn't grow up in a rural, predominantly white environment, or Spanish environment or Chinese environment. I grew up in, urban Toronto.
Right.
And then I kind of moved a little bit to the suburbs, but it's still very multicultural and,
Right.
and very diverse. And there was a lot of culture and passion and vibe. And that's who I am. So I can't run away from that. And that's why for me, when I was developing my brand, I wanted my brand to be an extension of who I was. So that when my clients came to me, they weren't surprised. They're like, oh, he's really quiet, but his brand always seems like he's joking around and he's laughing and he's giggling and he's dancing, but he's not dancing. He's really serious. I didn't want that to happen. So I decided to say, okay, this is who I am. I'm the digital storyteller. Yes. But at the same time, what does that mean? How do I embrace that? Because other people call themselves digital storytellers, but they're not like me. So how do I fully embrace, the good, the bad, and the ugly of Tristan Barrocks, the digital storyteller, and then communicate it in a way that's brand appropriate, right? So that's one key thing about authenticity. I think the other part of it, again, is just realizing that you can't be that other person you like.
Right.
Okay. I love, there's a cinematographer out there named Joe Simon. I love him. He's amazing. He's great. You should check him out. His company is called The Delivery Men. It's great. And then there's also another cinematographer called Philip Bloom, which a lot of photographers would know as well. He does great stills as well as amazing cinematography. I can't be them. I didn't grow up in Texas like Joe Simon did, and I didn't grow up in Great Britain like Philip Bloom did. I can admire their work. I can aspire to get to that level of excellence, but I can't be them. And once I kind of come to grips with that, then everything else can kind of fall into place. Then I can figure out, okay, what's my voice as a creative, but then also as a marketer. And also as a brand creator, right? Like what's my voice, and going from there. And it takes time. It takes time to do that. It's not something that you can just jump up and do. Not everybody's really comfortable in their own skin. So you kind of have to get used to what you like, what you're into. If you're into live events, you probably don't want to market yourself to do baby photos, right? It's not your thing, right? That's not that your mind doesn't get wrapped around that way, right? I can do corporate video, but I don't really want to position myself as a corporate video king. You know what I mean? I want to position myself as a person that tells stories around brands that mean something. So I'm going to push out content that represents that. And in that, I'm being 100% or as authentic as possible to then pull or draw the types of clients I want.
Definitely. And what I like what you said is that you cannot be like the other person that you admire. You can only be yourself, because I feel like a lot of creatives, like, and I witnessed this when I do like my workshops and I'm teaching people, because the question always comes up, well, can you teach me how to do the lighting or whatever to be just like you? And I'm like, I don't want you to be just like me. I want you to use the two eyes that you have and tell your own story through photography, because I am very clear, like when, like Sue Bryce is like the biggest photographer right now in the community, and so is Jasmine Star or whatever, so to speak. And I look at their work and I think their work is amazing. Two different styles of work, but I never say like, I want to light my stuff. I want to learn the technique and create it my own, but I never say I want my work to look exactly like that, because to me, it's like, I want to tell my story. And, as a photographer, like the way how you change your lighting, the way how you do things, like you really want to be able to have things to look consistent and people to like look at your work and be like, I know what you do. Like, I know exactly how you do it, and you do it so well, but that's so you. Like, I can identify your work, but you don't want someone to say, oh, this kind of looks like, Sue Bryce's. This looks like somebody. You want to like pull that
you
out
want to
of
be
you.
you. Yeah, you want to
Yeah.
have your own voice. It's almost like me saying, you know, hey, can I have your voice, because your voice sounds dope.
Right.
Your voice on my face wouldn't work. That wouldn't
Right.
work. That'd be crazy, right? And I think that people have to understand that you're a gift,
Right.
and your responsibility is to open up so that people can see all that's inside this box, this gifted
Yes.
box. But that's your responsibility, and it's not easy, and it's a daily journey, and it's something that takes time to pull out. But you have to be committed to that. If you truly want to be successful, if you truly want to be prosperous, and it depends on how you define prosperous and success, but ultimately we all want to have a level of comfort, but not just financially, but in ourselves. Like, we want to be comfortable in our own skin. And the only way that you can do that is embrace the gift that you are, open up the box, and figure out what tools are in here to give to the world, right? When I'm working with my clients, I'm not just taking money from them. It's not just a transactional experience. I'm giving them something. I'm giving them a gift. I'm giving them a part of myself. I'm giving them a part of my perspective. I'm giving them a part of my passion and my love. And that is value added on top of just the technical skills and the lighting and all the other stuff. And that's what really changes the language of what I'm doing from, you know, just sort of a predisposed, pre-designed sort of thing to now, oh, wow, this is Tristan. You see what I'm saying?
Right. I love that you mentioned that, because that's so important for creatives to hear and know, especially when it comes to their brand. So my next question is how can someone repurpose their videos? So a lot of people do like Facebook Lives now and Instagram Lives. Like, how can they repurpose that to like other platforms? Like, how can they really extend that? Because if they do like a 5-minute YouTube video, like, how can they do that on Facebook, on other platforms?
Well, I think it's as simple as first understanding the purpose behind why you're creating the content. You have to understand the purpose. Like, if I'm not, so example is yesterday I spent a large part of my day creating a tutorial. That tutorial is like 15 or 18 minutes long. I didn't want to make it that long, but the purpose of that tutorial was to actually explain how to load and use the LUT package, or the lookup table package that I created. I just created and released, which I'm really excited about. But again, that was a purpose. That there was purpose behind that. So now I can take that video and I can maybe take out a small piece of that video and then repurpose that for Facebook or for Instagram or my Insta story, right? But I think you have to understand first, like, why are you doing it? Why are you creating the content?
Right.
If you don't understand why you're creating the content, then it's almost like you don't have any plan. You don't have any blueprint. What's your blueprint? Okay, so my blueprint is I'm talking about, you know, lighting a subject for headshots. Great. Okay. So then maybe what you want to do is, instead of just kind of talking about it, you may want to structure it in a beginning, middle, and end format, almost like an essay. So you have like your thesis statement, so what people are going to learn in the video. Then you have maybe your 4 or 5 points, which would be your paragraphs to support what your thesis is. You know, these are the different types of lighting for headshots. And then you're concluding with kind of reviewing it and recapping it and giving a nice little tight bow to it. Now, in planning that, let's say, YouTube tutorial, in the back of your mind, think about, okay, well, if it's a 4 or 5 minute video, now I have 5 1-minute videos that I can put up on Instagram, because Instagram takes 1-minute videos. And maybe I take one of those points and now I cut that point, chop it up really, really tight, and make a 15-second Insta story out of it. So you have content for days, literally. And maybe if you shoot in 4K, you can take that still, take a still out that you shot out of the video in 4K, and now that's a you know, a background screen for, or a title screen for your Facebook page or your profile page or whatever else, right? So there's so many different ways of utilizing it. You know, maybe you can shoot in, and this is going a little more technical, but essentially shoot in a raw or a flat format, and then use that same video clip now that you used of you talking about lighting for a color correction tutorial later on. And then you show people how you color corrected your tutorial. So, you know, there's so many different ways And then on top of that, you can repurpose it again and use that video as a way to showcase how you set up your audio, you know what I mean? Or you set up your lighting for that tutorial. So there's just so many different avenues to create content. Here's the thing. You have to know your audience. What is your audience? And your audience will tell you what they like. The way that they tell you is likes, loves, comments, interactions with you, and best of all, views. If they don't view it, they don't like it. So do something else. This is literally the easiest generation to understand. They tell you what they like. They tell you what they want to watch. They comment if they like it. So like it's really no brainer. You don't have to hire a third party to research and find out, you know, who wants to buy what and who likes this. No, the middleman's out of the way. As long as I have a computer that has a camera, has a mic, has access to the internet, and has Facebook, I can literally build an audience and build content that is audience specific without even having a background in marketing or a degree in business or anything like that. It's an amazing time we live in.
It is. And speaking from someone who's about to graduate with marketing, it is. I'm like, why did I get this degree? But, you know, I definitely agree. We are
it's good. It's good. I have a degree in marketing. You know what I mean?
No, I'm over it. It's like one more semester. So it's good. But no, like everything that you said, I totally agree in terms of like your audience will tell you. Like I post things on YouTube and they'll let me know like, why is your lighting this way? Or you're like kind of blurry, but I mean, they're like, I couldn't even watch. Or I have a habit just from, you know, how I was raised that I kind of do a smacking noise, and someone called me out on that. Like, I can't even watch this video because you're snapping. So I was like, okay, be mindful when you're talking, like really pronounce your words. So I was like, oh, okay. I didn't want to hear that, but like, it's good that they told me because that's able for me to create better content that connects with them. And that what I have to say, like you said, is the content that matters. And it's not, I noticed that it's not necessarily the video in terms of being beautiful. Like obviously your audience wants you to do the best because what you're saying is with value. So when I heard that myself, I didn't take it as like your video was horrible. They just said like, you have some important stuff to say, but you need to stop smacking and like maybe like focus your camera just a little bit more so that it won't be as like blurry, or maybe like record something that came out blurry. So I think what you're saying in terms of your audience will let you know what they want. And I love that you talked about how in regards to repurposing, how like a 15-minute video and you kind of layer it like how you're writing an essay can really help you take out little components for like YouTube. I'm not YouTube, but YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, anything. So I really appreciate you like breaking it down in that way, because that makes it a little bit more biteable and feels a little bit better when I talk about like, oh, how can I repurpose this YouTube video to get people excited or talk about something? But that leads into my next question. What are the tools in regards to software people should invest in for videography? Now, this audience is most likely to be photographers, but there's also going to be some creatives. So speaking to those creatives who may not have like the fancy camera, which I'm like, you don't need to have one to have really good footage, but what are the tools, software, equipment that you would say recommend for someone who wants to start doing more video?
So number one, you literally have your production studio and suite in your pocket right now. Unless you've been living under a rock and you don't believe in cell phones at all because they have some sort of radio frequencies that are going to like burn off the side of your face, you have a smartphone that has access to the internet, that has pretty good audio, that has darn near amazing video potential, that has processing that can rival some of, you know, the first generation computers that we used back in the day. So you literally have a production suite within your pocket, whether it's your iPhone, your Android device, Google, give me your free phone. It's cool. I'll take it. No, whatever it is, it's your tablet, your phone. right away you already have a way to produce content and
Right.
and dynamic, rich content, not something that looks really crappy. You can actually create something really nice. That being said, if you're looking for something that is a little, maybe a step up, what I would say is I would definitely, just for me, being a creative, I really would look at investing in a Mac. I'm
Right.
sorry. I mean, the reality is that yes, the Windows environment is great, and they've made a lot of strides. But
Right.
I just think that the package that you get, from security, to just fluidity of softwares, to the stability, the support, the training, the availability of the brand in terms of being able to kind of work with other creatives that have the same type of hardware as you,
Right.
is just amazing with Mac, and with
Right.
the Apple. The Apple ecosystem is really strong. That's, I guess, what I'm trying to say. So for me, I would encourage you, even if it's just an iPad Pro, or if you can get a MacBook or a MacBook Pro, or an iMac, I mean, or a Mac Mini. They're all of these computers are so powerful. They come with amazing software. I mean, when you buy a Mac, you get the full Office suite, their version of the Office suite, for free. You get access to all of their iMovie and iLife suite for free.
Right.
And that's a great starting point, because again, it creates this tight sort of ecosystem where you don't have to go to all these external sources to be able to start creating content. And that's the
Right.
most important thing, right? If you get a laptop, you have a mic, you have speakers, you have an HD high res camera. So there's a lot of things that you can do right out the box with a Mac. I'm sure you can do that with a PC. I just
Right.
found that, from my experience, the Mac universe is just a lot more robust, and it makes more sense from a creative standpoint and from a producing standpoint. The second thing I would say,
Mhm.
as I take a breath, is the software I use personally is Final Cut Pro.
Mhm.
I started out with Final Cut Pro years ago,
Mhm.
and I stuck with it primarily because I worked for Apple for several years. I worked
Mhm.
for Apple as a software trainer, for almost 8 years.
Mhm.
So I mean, a lot of the software I got trained on and I got for free. So I mean, I was like, well, why am
Right.
I going to spend money when I can make money off of free software?
Right.
So
Right.
that's why I'm kind of in that environment, and obviously I have strong feelings about the Apple environment. But Premiere is a robust, very strong platform. It's amazing, amazing, amazing tool. But at the end of the day, I mean, you can do the same thing with Movie Maker Pro. I think that's on the Window universe.
Yeah.
iMovie is really strong. Even
Mhm.
iMovie on the iPads, you can do everything you need to do,
Right.
and you can walk with it. You know what I mean? Especially nowadays, where everybody's trying to vlog. Well,
Right.
why would I want to vlog with a camera, then plug it into a computer, then sit down and edit it, then add the music and do all that stuff, when I have the music on my iPad? The
Right.
iPad's mobile. I can add, if I want to get better audio, I can add miking to it, but I don't really need to. It's all encompassing, and it's a mobile device, and I can film with it. So, you know what I mean? Those are the types of tools I would encourage, photographers that are thinking of transitioning into doing some more videos, even from a vlogging standpoint or
Right.
tutorial standpoint. I mean, there's stands for the iPads now and for your iPhones. So I would just stay in that sort of universe. If you
Mhm.
are looking to kind of step up your game even more,
Mhm.
your camera, vis-a-vis your photography camera, has all the video components that you need to create amazing content. I
Yeah.
mean, literally, the skills that you're using to create
Mhm.
amazing photos are the same skills that you're going to use to make amazing videos. The
Right.
only difference, and this is the thing that I didn't appreciate, because
Mhm.
growing up, my father was always trying to show all of us photography. And I was like, I'm not going to need it. Da, 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 da.
Mhm.
Fast forward 15 years later,
Mhm.
I buy my first DSLR and I had no idea how to use it.
Right.
And my dad's a photographer. So, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I could have learned that. I could have
Yeah.
learned the basics of photography, because it would have allowed my learning curve not to be so steep and so
Mhm.
hard. So you as a photographer, you as a content creator, you as a creative already are so much further than most people, because you know about shutter speed, f-stop, ISO, aperture, all those things that help you to create amazing content. Now you got to learn a little bit of audio and maybe a little bit more consistent, continuous lighting, but that'll come. I mean, you already know lighting already, because you have to know it for photography. So you kind of know that. So really the only thing that you really need to learn how to do to make really dynamic or really consistent video is audio.
Right. You said so much, but one thing that I took away is that, like, basically there's no reason for someone not to do video, especially now that you mentioned, and I forgot all about it, that you can literally film, edit, and do the audio on your iPad. Because I completely forgot, like 2 years ago, actually, I went to the Adobe Max conference, and they were just announcing, like, now they have all these apps, and they were showing us like how to edit a video. And for whatever reason, I was like, I don't need that. Like, I literally like threw it. I was like, I don't need this. And fast forward like 3 years later now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can totally make these vlogs a lot more easier, because, especially when I'm traveling and like I'm going back from DC to New York, I'm always thinking to myself like, oh, I can just like edit this while I'm on the ride. And so I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because no one's really talking about that. They're like, oh, okay, you have to buy this and that, but no one's saying like, you have a phone that can edit and film, and you can record. Because I also use my phone sometimes for audio to do, like, if I'm doing tutorials or something like that and I need to do a voiceover, I'll use my phone. So like, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because one of the questions that I had for you, and you can definitely embellish, talk a little bit about more, is that a lot of people are like, where do I start? Like, how do I do anything? But you just said like exactly what they need. Like, hey, you have it right here, like with you everywhere, every single day. Especially this generation, we can't seem to get away from our phones. So I appreciate you saying that, because that is, if you guys are you should be watching, but you guys should know that, like, if you're going to do anything today, start today creating your content on at least on your phone, if you don't have the materials, because there's really no excuse anymore. Like you said, unless you're under a rock.
Yes.
And you haven't been anywhere.
One thing I wanted to just add, just really, really quickly, I just want to show you 3 quick things that if you are looking for a little bit more advanced sort of equipment, you can use them. The first one specifically for video content is the Osmo, the DJI Osmo. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's pretty much a drone camera that is basically put onto a little handle, and then you put your phone like here, and then you can kind of roll around. I think the battery might be good on it. Yeah, there we go. So let me just twist it. So there you go. And this will actually give you stable footage. So what a lot of people do is they use this for vlogging. So if you go triple click on it, you can go like that. And then now it's turned around and I can do a vlog and be like, hey, I'm here, at this conference and this is amazing, right? So again, and this is like, you can get this maybe for like in America for about $500, $600. It's basically the price of a cheap lens. Or inexpensive lens, and you're getting 4K video with this. You can do slow-mo, you can do photo and video with this, and all you need is your camera or your phone in order to control some of the shutter speed and things of that nature, which I think is really cool. The other thing that you definitely need if you think you're going to do video, like you're really going to commit to video, is you need a hard drive.
Yes.
It seems very simple, but baby, you're not shooting raw photos anymore. You're shooting video. You're literally shooting the equivalent of raw stills every 24 seconds. 24 raw stills every second. That's what you're doing, the equivalent of. So you need a hard drive. You need to invest in it. There's not much more I can say. Just be prepared to invest and be organized with your footage, so you can find it really quickly and add it to whatever other tutorials you want. And then lastly,
before you show the third thing, I want to say Lacy hard drive is the best hard drive. I've never lost any data on that. Every other hard drive I've lost something on. So Lacy.
Listen, if you look closely, this has like dents and everything on it, and it's still this is like probably 6 or 7 years old, and I love this drive, and it's great. The last thing is this has been through a lot, but my Zoom H4n recorder. This little guy here, and again, you can get a smaller version, which is the Zoom H1, but this is basically a digital recorder. So what you can do here is, if you're really interested in getting the best audio out of for your video, or if you're trying to just do like a lot of like podcasts, just not really vlogging but podcasts, this in and of itself is like a digital audio interface. So you can plug two mics at the bottom here,
Right.
or at the side. You have some inputs, or you can use the mic that's the two mics that are at the top as kind of like a microphone, and you can record interviews. You can record high quality audio on here, and it takes SDs. There's an SD slot right there. It's super easy to use. I've had this one now for since I started video, so this has been probably 10 years old, maybe 6 or 7 years old, somewhere around there. And I never leave home without it. Sometimes I don't even bring anything else in terms of audio related except this and like one mic, and I'm good to go. I can plug into any sound system. I can just roll with the punches. It's super and it's super inexpensive now. You can probably get one for maybe 150, 190, 180. It's not that expensive. It's really good.
Right.
Must have.
Yes.
Okay. Those are the three sort of things that I would say, three sort of, I guess, niche items that if you are looking for specific things that aren't too expensive, can work to really provide you with good, help you create some good video.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that, especially like the lacy. Like I can't, like I have mines for years. Like I right. It's sturdy. It's really good. And
it's good, man.
It's really good product. So what I want to ask you next is, excuse me, why is videography a big part of anyone's brand right now and probably forever?
Yeah, I think videography, cinematography, the video industry in general should be a big part of people's brands, for the simple fact that it's not going anywhere. I don't know the exact year that the first silent film came out, but ever since then, we've always been, humanity has always had this obsession with telling stories through motion pictures, moving pictures, I should say. So I think understanding that it is a part of the overall conversation when you're talking about being a content creator, being somebody that is shaping the narrative of your brand. This is just a part of your tools that you have to use in order to be effective in terms of getting the attention of your audience. Right now, we are in the most overstimulated society and generation that has ever been. I mean, hence why we have Snapchat, which is, a 7-second clip.
Right.
I mean, back in the day with my parents' generation, that probably, if they had this technology, it would probably be like a 5-minute clip of somebody talking about how they shampoo their hair. Right. Now it's like, hey, and it's deleted.
Yeah.
But that's the type of environment we're in. We're overstimulated. There's so many things coming, bombarding people. So you have to figure out a way to cut through the noise, right? So video allows you to cut through the noise, because the reality is not a lot of people are using it. They're scared of it. It's something that people don't understand and don't know how to use. So not only do they not know how to produce it, but they don't know how to use it. Maybe you may know how to produce it, but then if you don't use it in an effective way, then it's still not cutting through the noise of this generation. So, it's one of those things that it's invaluable when you understand how to use it, how to allow it to amplify your brand and your voice as a content creator, as a photographer, as a digital storyteller. Then it becomes an invaluable tool. And that's why it's so important. Not necessarily because it looks cool and the gear is cool. That's cool. That's there. But really the importance is that it's expected now. It's needed. It's one of the most effective tools to cut through the noise of all the other things that's stimulating this generation.
Right. Definitely. Excuse me. I definitely agree with that. I have one more question before the last question.
Okay.
So my question is, this is directed towards the people who are like, okay, yes, I have my phone, but I still don't want to do videography. I want it to look professional. So I don't want to do the work, but I'm going to find the videographer. What do you find that someone who is a creative and they're coming to a videographer, what do they need to have prepared before they come to you, so it's not kind of like a waste of time kind of stuff?
So first, the very first thing that I would say to a person that comes to me is that I say to them, you are your brand.
Right.
You need to come to grips with the fact that you're your brand. You can't run away from it. You can't send somebody else to do it for you. You have to embrace the fact that because I deal with a lot of small to medium-sized business owners.
Right.
And they just want to push out their product and say, look, I have a nice shiny thing, buy it.
All right.
People don't care about that. Right. They want to know who you are, because when you sell yourself, you can sell anything to people.
Right.
If people like you, like I said earlier, if people like who you are, they will buy and like whatever you're selling. Okay. Right. In general senses, you see what I'm saying? Because they understand that at the end of the day, you're an authentic person. They feel they're an authentic person. They connect to you on a human level. You connect to them on a human level. Now it opens up the plethora of opportunities to say, hey, I'm starting this. I'm having this conference. I'm now doing these stylized shoots. I'm providing this service. And now they're like, well, yeah, they've been really consistent. I really like their messaging, not necessarily consciously saying that, but they're just like, I like this person. I like their brand. Yeah, I am going to support them. I really want to do that. I'm actually in need of that. You see what I'm saying? So that's kind of how it works, right? So I think coming to a cinematographer, a digital storyteller like myself, you need to come prepared to embrace the fact that you're the face of your brand. That's number one. Right. Number two, you have to understand what your brand is and what your voice is. I can't tell you that. Right. I can help you facilitate bringing that out, but I can't tell you what your brand is. I can't tell you how to effectively communicate your brand. I assist with that, right? You still got to give me the materials. The one thing I tell people whenever I'm doing any sort of promotional videos with them, creating a brand film or anything like that, is I say, you just give me the content. I'll make you look good. That's my job. My job is to make you look good. You can say and ah, you can have pauses, you can take your time delivering the sentences. Just be authentic. Come across authentic, please. Come across in a way that doesn't seem cheesy or seem like you're trying to sell something. That's number one. And then number two, know what you're talking about. So then when I take that content, I add my little secret sauce, my little black boy magic, and we make things happen.
Yes. Yes. Well, Tristan, thank you so much. This has been an amazing interview. Before we go, do you have any additional information you want to share? Where can people find you? Yes. Everything. Just give us it all.
Yes. Okay. So you can find me first and foremost at my website, which is tristanbarrocks.com or .ca. My name is spelled TRISTAN BARROCKS. That's bar and rocks. Put that together, and you have my last name .com or .ca, and you'll find my content there in terms of my latest videos and films that I've created, as well as you can find a lot of my content on YouTube. Currently I'm creating different tutorials that are available, free tutorials on my YouTube channel, which would be, I believe, youtube.com/Tristan Barrocks. Or you can just Google my name, Tristan Barrocks, and the first page will give you all my social media links. Definitely follow me on Instagram. You can either hashtag The Digital Storyteller, or you can hashtag Directed by Tristan, or you can hashtag Tristan Barrocks, at Tristan Barrocks, and you'll find me. You'll find a lot of cool content there. I do a lot of comedic things through my storyline or my timeline, so that'll be kind of cool. There's something really cool that has happened just in recent months. I actually created a private Facebook group that's soon to be public, called The Digital Storytellers. And basically what that group is, it's all about content sharing. So it's sharing our work. It's helping others share their work and become better storytellers, whether they're doing stills or they're doing motion pictures, so video. And it's a place to share resources, where you get your music from, where you get your gear from, what software you're using, ask questions about gear. We also do meetups once a month. So we did our first meetup just last week, And in the group, you'll find more information about that. And lastly, but not least, I actually released my first, I guess you would call it my first cinematic LUT package, which is, for those of you that don't know what a LUT is, it's short for look up table. And it's basically a set of pre-created filters, almost like Instagram filters that you put on your photos, and you can control the intensity of it, and you can control the way that your photo looks based on the filter that you use. So I created actually 2 types, and you can apply it to your footage or you can apply it to your stills. I have a vintage pack, which you can purchase, or I have a cinecut or cinematic style of LUTs. You can either buy one or the other. You can buy both together, and they're pretty inexpensive. They're in between about $10 to $15, depending on what you get. And you know, you can definitely give me feedback on them, use them. I really do believe that they'll help you out in terms of whether you're in a pinch or whether you want a good place to start in terms of to start your edit, and you want to try and create a look, but you don't want to start from the very beginning. Sometimes it's tedious, especially when you want to get some inspiration. So that's really what's going on with me. Other than that, just, you know, keep on following me. If you want to ask any questions, feel free. You can always hit me up right here on the conference page in terms of any sort of questions that you have about any things that I've touched on. But you can DM me vis-a-vis Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I want to hear from you. I'm about sharing my knowledge and connecting with you and seeing what you're doing.
All right, you guys, we're having another challenge, and I'm so excited to tell you about it. So this challenge is for you to post a 1 short promo video about your what, your why, and who, and hashtag the Epic Brand Summit. Make sure when you do this promo is leading to your full-length video that we had in Zaylee's challenge. But don't forget, tag Tristan and I on IG when you post your 1 short promo video. So I want to thank Tristan so much for coming on today.
One thing I just wanted to mention with that, so I make sure that I can see it. Please hashtag the digital storytellers. Right. That's the digital storytellers, as well as at me, just at Tristan Barrocks. Right. Just send it to me because I want to know. I want to see all your stuff. I'm super, super excited to meet all you guys. I just think this is super dope what Delisa is doing. I think that you're just killing it, and I'm super happy to be a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right.